Namaskara. Good morning, good evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this special session today with Dr. Nandita Shah. I'm Pratima. I'm a holistic nutritionist, and I'll be your host today. Before I introduce about our distinguished guest, Dr. Nandita Shah, I wanted to add few points about my own health journey. 13 years back, I went through a pregnancy with severe preeclampsia and hypothyroidism, and also later on I experienced miscarriage. And during that time, I was exploring alternative healing options, and that's when I explored Dr. Nandita Shah Sharan, and her YouTube videos and website inspired me so much to make changes with my own diet and lifestyle. And I went on to have a healthy pregnancy without any of these preeclampsia or hypothyroid or gestational diabetes or any of the issues. So I'm truly privileged to be a host for this session with Dr. Nandita Shah. So to introduce about Dr. Nandita Shah, she's a registered medical doctor, and she's a founder of Sharan, which she established in 2005. And she's the author of best-selling book called Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. And she has been working in this field for the last few decades, and she has inspired and transformed many lives to make healthy lifestyle choices. And because of her work in the field of nutrition and health and animal welfare, she has been awarded highest civilian award for women in India, which is Nari Shakti Puraskar Award. So let's welcome Dr. Nandita Shah today. Over to you, Dr. Nandita Shah.
Thank you, Pratima, for that wonderful introduction. And I want to welcome all of you that are here. And I'm sure that many of you are here because today we are facing so many cases of hormonal issues. Is there anyone here who is here for anything else or has anything else on their mind? Is there anyone here who's totally new to these subjects? You could chat in the chat box, or you can just write your.
Ma'am, your voice is a bit low, I feel.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
for me, it's a bit low. Uh,
What about others? Can everyone else hear?
Yeah, I think for me it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
So, if you
it's
could
fine
just
for
put
me.
on headphones in case it's low
hmm.
for you, because I don't think I can do anything to make it.
Okay.
Okay.
ज्यादा बड़े लोग को
Okay, so I'm going to suggest that everyone keep their um, audio off, keep it muted so that by chance there's no nothing while I'm speaking, and I definitely will leave time for
Last one.
questions in the end. So please, can I suggest that everyone mute themselves so that you don't disturb others? Can I start now?
Yeah, please. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll ask you questions about yourself later because nobody said anything much right now. And I'm assuming that that means that you all are all kind of new to this subject, right? So you'll have more questions later on, and so I'll introduce this subject in a little more detail as we go along. Okay. So let me just start with my presentation. As Pratima said, I founded Sharan. Sharan stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. I started Sharan in 2005, and that was because I was living in Mumbai, but because of a severe illness and just to give myself time to recover from a busy practice, I moved to Auroville, where I live now. So it's been 27 years that I've been living in Auroville. But I moved to Auroville and I was closer to nature. I moved specifically to be in nature. And when I moved to Auroville, a cat moved into my house. I have a very open house in Auroville, and the cat moved in, and we were coexisting without really She wasn't my pet, and I wasn't feeding her or anything. We were just coexisting. And I realized that animals in nature know how to be well. How come humans are always sick? I mean, we're building hospitals and clinics, and there's surgeries and medicines and new medicines every day, and yet people are sicker than ever before. But animals in nature know exactly what to do when they're unwell, and they can turn it around. And so can we. The problem is that today we are living in a little bit away from nature. Maybe in the US it's a bit better than here in India, but I was living in Bombay, which is literally a concrete jungle. And to move into a real forest was a beautiful experience, and I
Hmm.
learnt a lot. Can I just ask everyone to turn off their mute themselves while I'm speaking? And Pratima, you could help. You could just mute them while they talk, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I just muted. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just to go on, oh, one sec. We are going to talk today about hormonal havoc. And the reason I chose this subject is Pratima already told you that I've written a book, Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. And diabetes is a hormonal problem because insulin is a hormone. In fact, when I was thinking about it, I realized that almost 50% of diseases today are hormonal. You know, common hormonal problems are diabetes, of course, and then PCOD or PCOS, hypothyroidism, premature puberty, which is so common these days, and infertility, another big problem. Like, India was a country of over fertility, and today we have infertility clinics everywhere. So this is a real problem. Like, things are changing fast. And menstrual problems and menopausal problems and acne and prostate enlargement. This is also very common. So men are as likely to get hormonal issues as women are. And then breast cancer and ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, these are all hormone dependent cancers. And vitamin D deficiency, this is almost everybody has it. And vitamin D is also a hormone. And then gynecomastia and hirsutism. Hirsutism means, gynecomastia means men with women like breasts. And this is really not uncommon these days. And hirsutism means hair on the face of women, or unwanted hair on the body of women. Now, we are going to talk about how we can harmonize hormonal health. All our hormones are orchestrated by one gland at the back of our brain, the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland acts as a conductor of all these hormones, which are totally interrelated and look after all the functions of our body. In fact, we even experience emotions through hormones. Like, when we're stressed, adrenaline or cortisol is high. When we're happy, dopamine or serotonin is high. So, hormones have so many functions. Hormones are actually chemical messengers from the brain. So, we have messages from the brain through the nerves, but we also have messages from the brain to different parts of our body through chemicals that are hormones. They're secreted into the bloodstream, and they go from the brain or the gland which is producing them, and they go all over the body. Now, I'm just going to mention a few of the important hormones and some of the endocrine glands. So the pituitary is the master control gland that I already talked about. And then there's the pineal gland, which is also in the brain, and this produces melatonin. Some people take melatonin to sleep, but this produces our natural melatonin. And then hypothalamus, which controls, that's also in the lower part of the brain, the hypothalamus, and that controls the body temperature, hunger, moods, thirst, sleep, sex drive. And then the thyroid, which controls the metabolism and heart rate, and the parathyroid hormone. These are two little glands. I'm going to show it here. These are two little glands, or rather four little glands around the thyroid, right? And they control the amount of calcium in the body. And then there's the thymus, which controls the immune, like they produce the T cells, which are one of the cells important for the immune system. And then there's the adrenal glands. Adrenal means next to the kidneys. These are the adrenal glands. And they control the sex drive, produce stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. And then there's the pancreas, which produces insulin. And the ovaries in women produce estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. And the testes in men produce testosterone. So all these hormones actually regulate so many functions of our body, important functions. So we can imagine, and here vitamin D is not even mentioned, but vitamin D is also hormone. So we can imagine how many functions just the hormones control. Now, if we want to solve a hormonal problem like diabetes or hypothyroidism or PCOD, and many of these hormonal problems come together, like there are many people who have diabetes plus hypothyroidism plus PCOD. So many of these problems come together, and the key to solving any problem is never medication. We know very well that people who have hypothyroidism take thyroxine their entire lives, they never get well. People who have diabetes take medicines for diabetes their entire lives. But if you want to get well, you have to think of removing the cause of the problem. Medicines only temporarily remove symptoms, never the cause. We need to remove the cause of the problem, right? So when we go to the doctor, we are working at this level. But when we are working on ourselves, we should be working at the level of cause. And if you remove the root cause of any problem, the problem will go away, which means that we have cases of diabetes, cured, or we have cases of hypothyroidism cured, or PCOD cured. We have cases of infertility. People who have not been able to conceive after 16 years of marriage, getting surprise pregnancies after healing their body within a year. I mean, we have seen many cases of infertility solved. So what are the causes of this hormonal havoc? Number one, hormones themselves, right? As I said, all the hormones are orchestrated by the pituitary gland, and if one hormone is out of balance, the other hormones also are out of balance, and we have problems, which is why people get hormonal problems in groups also. So where is the hormones coming from? We are going to talk about this soon, how hormones cause problems. And then chemicals are hormone disruptors, and we're living in a world full of chemicals. And then fat in our body holds on to hormones, and as long as we have this imbalance of hormones getting held into our fat, we still have hormonal problems. So the hormones can come from steroids. many people take steroids and then they end up with diabetes and obesity. Or oral contraceptives are also hormones. Thyroxine, of course, is a hormone. Vitamin D, whether in excess or in deficiency, is an imbalance of a hormone. And hormone replacement therapy, which people used to do before, is also hormones going into our body from outside. Now, the other place is animal products, because all the animals that we eat also produce the same hormones that we produce. For example, today many people suffer from anxiety, depression. In fact, I read somewhere today that more people are suffering or have more disabilities from psychological illnesses than cancers and autoimmune illnesses. Imagine, I mean, cancer and autoimmune diseases are causing a lot of disabilities, but anxiety and depression even more, and these are caused by hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, etc. Now, when we consume animals, we are consuming their hormones, of course. When we consume milk, we are consuming estrogen and progesterone and prolactin and growth hormones, all of these through the milk. But we are also consuming the stress hormones. If a cow is artificially inseminated so that she'll produce milk, and her baby, when it's born, is taken away from her so that all her milk can be sold in the market, then she is stressed, because every mother wants to produce milk for her own baby. And this comes back to us in the milk that we drink. If the animals are going for slaughter, they're definitely not in a happy state of mind, and their stress comes back to us through the meat. If the chickens are made to lay 260 eggs or 250 eggs a year in order to be counted as productive and not being slaughtered, which the egg laying chickens have to produce, then they are under stress. In fact, the animals in our food chain are under way more stress than most human beings who are highly stressed anyway. So when we consume them or their products, we are consuming stress hormones. Now, chemicals. Let's talk about them. Because see, if we want to get rid of any problem, we have to remove the causes of that problem, right? This doesn't mean that you suddenly stop thyroxine in hypothyroidism or that you stop taking vitamin D, but you check carefully, and as things improve, you reduce, right? You take only what is required to keep the balance. Chemicals. Chemicals are all over the place. Like, we can get chemicals from food if we're eating non-organic, conventionally grown food, or if we're eating packaged food or processed food, we're consuming chemicals too, all those preservatives and colors, etc. And then animal products are full of chemicals because, the animals are fed 70 to 80% of the antibiotics produced in the world are fed to animals in our food chain. Number one. Number two, if they're eating food that is conventionally grown, which most of them are, then there are pesticides in the meat or milk. And I just want to talk to you about a study that was done in, I think, in the beginning, say 2000 or 1999 or something like that. The ICMR researched milk for 7 years, taking 50,000 samples from across India. They found 5.7 milligrams per kilogram of HCH in milk on an average. Now, under the Food and Adulteration Act, only 0.01 milligram per kilogram of HCH is allowed, which means that this milk contained 570 times the permissible levels of pesticide, of this particular pesticide. Now, there are other pesticides too, there are other chemicals as well, there are the medicines that are given to animals and so on that are concentrated in the milk, because when we consume foods higher on the food chain, we're consuming all the impurities that came through their food and water supply, concentrated into their products. And then we can't forget that medicines are chemicals, right? And personal care products, those toothpastes and mouthwashes and soaps and shampoos and perfumes. Perfumes contain terrible chemicals which are carcinogens and hormone disruptors. But unfortunately, there's perfume in everything. The shampoos, the soaps, the deodorants, the conditioners, whatever else, lotions and potions and whatever else people use. And then home care products. The home care products like the window cleaners, toilet cleaners, floor cleaners, air fresheners, scented candles, agarbattis, all of these are chemicals that we're breathing in. So chemicals enter our body through our mouth, through our skin, and through the air we breathe in. Things that we should definitely avoid in our kitchen are microwave. I mean, often if you're heating your food in a melamine or plastic container, or if you have packaged food and you're heating it, then the chemicals in this come into the food. Microwave is bad for other reasons as well. And then non-stick, if it's on a high flame or if it's scratched, the chemicals enter the food. Plastic, like if you have water bottles that are sitting out in the sun or in a hot area, or if you are freezing things in plastic, the chemicals can come into your food. And aluminum, if you have sour food cooking in aluminum vessels, it can leach in the aluminum and other metals too. I mean, there have been problems even with metals like steel because of impurities, which is why people are using titanium steel vessels. Titanium steel is a surgical steel, so that less metals get infused into the food. So the sources of chemicals, in short, are the non-organic foods, the packaged foods, the animal products, the medicines, the personal care products, the home care products, the plastics, and of course the environmental pollution, which we can't do much about, but we can stop adding to it. I mean, I must say that even the water that comes in our taps has chlorine, which is a chemical. So, and fluorine even in some cases. So we have to be wary of all this, and one of the ways we can get away from all these chemicals is by using RO water, which is bad because it doesn't have any minerals, but it's good because it doesn't have chemicals. So we can use infused RO water, infusing it with, lemon juice or, slices of citrus fruits or strawberries or even cucumber or mint leaves or, herbal infusions like herbal teas. And then fat. Fat stores the chemicals. And so we actually teach people how to cook without fat. We teach people zero oil cooking. How to make samosas and puris and anything that you would like without any oil. Now, the fat could be coming from oil, ghee, or butter. So, obviously, we have to avoid these things. But we can't forget that animal products are full of fat, like boiled meat, fish, chicken, or milk, and you get fat on top. And that's because there's no fiber in animal products. the fiber actually holds on to the fat in plants. All plants contain fiber, but there's no fiber in animal products. So, when we consume, like if you boil peanuts or almonds or cashews or coconut, you don't get a film of oil on top, and that's just because all plants have fiber which holds on to the fat. That means that if we want to get rid of excess fat in our body, we have to stop consuming fat, we have to stop consuming animal products, and we have to increase the fiber in our food. And this can be done by eating whole plants. So, because all plants contain fiber, but we can get rid of the fiber by refining it. For example, oil is a plant food, sugar is a plant food, and white rice and white flour, which are very commonly used, are plant foods that where the fiber is removed. So, just to come back to my book, Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. Can diabetes actually be reversed in 21 days? And the reason this book is named this is because I conduct a 21-day health retreat where people come in from all over the world actually, and we do all their tests in the beginning. So we know the starting level, and then we learn to cook, and we eat high quality buffet meals where people can pick and choose what they like, but all the foods are whole, plant based and organic. And I'm so sorry about this. All the foods are whole, plant based and organic, and people get better. And as they get better, we keep cutting down medications, and people have got free of all or almost all medications in just 21 days. When we do all the tests at the end, we see the difference. So, in summary, hormonal problems are caused by hormones, fat, and chemicals. Hormonal issues take some time to heal. Diabetes is the one that is one of the quickest, and that's because we can check the blood sugar every day. So, as people get better, we can slowly peel off the medicines and get the results quickly. But other hormonal issues take more time, like, for example, hypothyroidism may take much longer, and unfortunately, like maybe a year or two. But unfortunately, today, many of the hypothyroidism cases are autoimmune hypothyroidism, which means that we have to take care of it in a way that we would take care of autoimmune diseases. So, Sharan has a 5-point plan that everything should be plant based, whole, and organic. And this kind of sounds like a deprivation, especially if you live in the US and you're eating ready made foods all the time. It really sounds like deprivation. But believe me, it's not a deprivation, it's like an upgrade, because when you start eating the way nature designed us to eat, and many people don't know why plant based, whole, and organic is the way nature designed us to eat. So, I want to say a few words about that right now. That, we've been taught we're omnivores, and we believe it. And so, people are vegetarian or non vegetarian, etc. But if, all the animals in nature eat according to instinct. And often we don't know what our instincts are. So, I'm going to put you in touch with your instincts right now. Right? And here I really need you to type into the chat box. So, imagine if you were on a farm or an orchard and you see fruits and vegetables hanging ripe and ready. What do you feel like doing? What do you feel like doing when you see? You can just type into the chat box. Does everyone know where the chat box is? Right. So you feel like eating them or plucking them and eating them. Very good. Now, if you see a chicken walk by, or a goat or a cow, does anyone's mouth water? Say, yeah, no, even if you are a non vegetarian, your mouth will not water. Of course, if it's cooked and put on a plate in front of you, maybe your mouth will water because we are conditioned to eat this, but it's not our food. Like, if a dog saw a chicken, maybe its mouth would water because it can pounce on it, tear it apart, and eat it raw, but we can't. Remember, all the animals eat their food raw, which brings us even to wheat and rice. If we see wheat and rice growing in fields, our mouth doesn't water because we can't eat it raw. So, we should eat the foods that nature or God has designed for us. And like all animals, we should eat it raw, whole, and as far as possible, some more raw than we're used to. And of course, we're the only species that sprays our food with poison so that other animals don't eat it and then we eat it, which is totally madness. And so we shouldn't do that, right? So we really need to make sure that we eat closer to the way that nature or God designed us to eat. Okay. And then today, in today's modern world, people can have vitamin B12 and vitamin D deficiencies, and you would be surprised how many people have these deficiencies. And these are absolutely vital um, vitamins. And I do want to say that I hardly ever recommend any supplements because I believe that you can get all the nutrients from foods that God meant us to eat. But today, because of the mobile phones and mobile phone towers and electromagnetic frequencies, we don't get enough vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is only made by bacteria and it's absorbed in the stomach. So you can't get it from your gut bacteria. So when we consume zero beef foods or foods that have been sprayed with pesticides, when we consume, super hygienic lifestyle, we do not get the uh, microbes which would give us the B12. And that's why, and in the past, people also ate fermented foods. Now, we must remember that meat and milk are quickly decaying substances full of bacteria once the animal is dead. And so they do contain some B12. But unfortunately, in order to digest meat and milk, our stomach has to produce more acid, and this can destroy the cells in the stomach which absorb vitamin B12. And so, vegetarians and non vegetarians can have B12 deficiency. And then, vitamin D is a hormone that is made by the action of the sun on the skin. But because we go out in the sun with clothes on and sunscreen sometimes, and sometimes even the windows or the polluted air block the direct rays of the sun from the skin, we don't get enough vitamin these days. That's not true for everyone, of course. If you're light skinned and you're spending time in the sun, you might get vitamin D naturally, but many of us Indians don't get enough, and especially Indians in the US, because all through the winter there's less sun, and then through the summer, maybe we Indians don't like to get darker, and so we don't spend so much time in the sun. So we can have vitamin D deficiency, and so these should be checked and supplemented as required. Now, how can we at Sharan help you? We have all kinds of talks and workshops and seminars going on all the time, Like if someone wants to know about autoimmune diseases, you can literally go to our YouTube channel and learn more about it and how to get well. We also have a team of doctors and nutritionists and do online consultations, and we have publications which you can download for free from our website. And we have lots of cooking classes to teach people how to make fabulous food without oil. And you should try some of our recipes. We have 600 recipes on our website that are available to you for free. Now, our website address is on every single slide, sharan-india.org. And we also have the 21-day health retreat, which comes once or twice a year, and we have shorter retreats too, and they are really worth joining, because there our goal is to make you so aware of how to get well that it's done for life. So check out our website, our YouTube channel. I also want to say that we have some cookbooks. We have timeless recipes in English and Hindi and Gujarati, and recently even in Tamil. And we have Sharan Healthy Living book that you can download for free. You can also download all these recipe books for free. And Reversing Diabetes is published by Penguin, so it's not available for free, but you can buy the Kindle version or you can buy the soft hard copy. And these are our latest books: Meal Replacer Salads and the Tamil recipe book. That's just a translation of the English book. And if you want to subscribe to our newsletters, you can just do it from our website, and I'll show you where. But you can also do it with this code, this QR code. So I'm just going to quickly go through our website with you and then open for questions, if that's okay. So I'll
Yeah.
stop the share for a moment and just go to um, was it interesting, and did you get a lot of information that you wanted so far? I'm going to open for questions soon. Okay, so I'm just going to go to our website and share again. And I want to let you know that we have here 600 recipes that you can, oh gosh, for some reason it's not opening right now. Okay, I don't know, but you can, I guess, look at it. Let me try another browser.
Shall I share it, doctor?
Yes, let me see if I can share,
Okay.
because then I can take them around.
Yeah, sure.
But let's see. Okay, so
Yeah.
here we are at the recipes site, where you can see so many different recipes that we have, including global main dishes and how to make a fabulous pizza with whole grain and so on, like not white flour and things. And luckily nowadays, even in the US, you can get many things ready made which conform to whole plant based and even organic. So
Yeah.
it's not that you can't eat that ready made stuff. And then we have lots of events. In fact, we have Salad Revolution going on right now, but it's going on at the middle of your night. So you can still register for it. And any of our free programs that you register for, even if they're at the wrong time, you can get the recording later on. And if you want to join any of our cooking classes, some of them are recordings, so you can see them at your own time. And some of them are um, live cooking classes, but then we do have the recording available later, so that you will always, like for example, if you join this, you will be able to join the recording if the timing isn't suitable for you. so that you can always avail of everything. This is our 21-day health retreat, which I'm going for now. It is full, but we have another one coming up next year. And there's this 1 week retreat also in Pune in July. And we have regular programs going on. These are just some that are updated right now. For those who are more interested, we also have like oh, but it's not good for US. Sorry, we have training programs for facilitators and cooking instructors and doctors and nutritionists, but it happens in India time. We also have a good FAQ section where you can ask about, say, vitamin B12 and vitamin D and how much you should take if such and such is your level, and so on and so forth. And then our consultation section where you can consult our different health coaches or nutritionists or counselors or whatever. And we also have a resources section. This is important for you because this is where our publications are available for free. So I think that's it. You can browse through our website, and now I'd be happy to open for questions
Yeah.
if
Thank
you
you.
have any.
Yeah, thank you so much for your insightful session, Doctor. We have a president from the Kannada, Sampige Kannada Association. She would like to add few words. Yeah,
Oh, yes,
Anita.
of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, doctor. Thank you so much for the session. It was extremely informative. And though these pointers are, I think everyone who have attended this session, I think we all know these pointers. But in this being in this busy world, we almost forget everything. And I mean, we sometimes we can't cook, so we use packaged food. All those things keep happening. So I think these sessions help us to tune in back and just sit back and understand, okay, what is important for us. So thank you so much from our association for accepting and giving us such an informative session, doctor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you so
It's
much. Uh,
congratulations for all you do.
Thank you,
Thank you.
doctor. And we are ready to accept questions now, and
Uh,
Pratima will be taking that. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think first we can go with the pre-shared questions and then we'll go the one which is in the
sure.
chat box. So doctor, we have this question where somebody is asking, my period has changed a lot after I turned 30. So instead of 4 or 5 days now, it's 2 full days. Is there a problem? I follow healthy lifestyle. I get 10K steps and I eat no sugar or processed food, but still the periods is only for 2 days. Is this a
Okay,
problem?
so first of all, no. I mean, in the sense that the the cleaner you eat, the less heavy will be your periods, right? So those people who eat raw food, their periods may be shorter and less heavy, but this doesn't mean that that's necessarily true for you. I don't know everything about your diet, and I definitely want to say that whoever asked this question, that you know animal products do interfere with all of this because we are consuming the hormones through the animal products. So if you're, and many of us, I definitely was a vegetarian and I thought I was healthy and I was consuming milk and milk products, all kinds of milk and milk products, from cheese and paneer and curds and buttermilk, and I used to drink 3 glasses of milk a day on top of that. So it definitely, when I changed my diet, I felt much better in so many aspects. So yeah, you can too. If you're not yet plant based, it's definitely worth turning plant based. And the good news is that now in the US, there are relatively clean plant based alternatives to everything. Like
Yeah.
you can buy um, cashew based cheeses. So it's cheese made of something which is not bad. Or you can buy plant based milks that are, if you look at the ingredients, not all of them contain oil, or like West soy is made with organic soy
Yeah.
and doesn't contain sugar or oil and so on, so you can get good quality foods that are alternatives to all this. So you won't be deprived and you can be healthy. What can be better than that?
Yeah. Thank you, doctor. So the next question is, somebody is saying my cholesterol is high, my TSH is elevated, which is around 8.2, and T3, T4 is normal. I'm postmenopausal. Is there a connection between this thyroid, high thyroid issues, and cholesterol and menopause? Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And you can get well, you know. If you follow all the things that I said to you today, you can actually get well and your TSH can come down to normal levels. It's not too high right now. So let's get going.
yeah. Her next question was asking what diet, lifestyle changes she can do, and any if strength training can help with this. So I think you've already answered
But
about the diet.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. I mean, let's be honest, strength training is good and everyone must do it. But honestly, it can't get rid of hormonal issues. So, to get rid of hormonal issues, we need to remove the causes of hormonal issues. And yes, high cholesterol can be because of hypothyroidism. And this is pre hypothyroidism.
okay. Thank you, doctor. Next question is I have severe period cramps and painful bowel urges during the first 8 hour window of my periods. So what can be done for this?
Absolutely, this can get better with whatever I've told you. Honestly,
Yeah.
you just need to do it and you'll get the results.
Yeah.
And of course, you will not get the results overnight because hormonal problems take time to heal. It depends on your situation or whether you're overweight or what is the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, and to add a personal experience, once I stopped dairy products 11 years ago, I don't get period cramps. So definitely, it really helps when we stop consuming dairy.
For
Yeah,
sure. And
yeah,
I didn't suffer from any menopausal problems at all.
yeah, amazing. So the next question is how to prevent hormonal issues in kids. What are the healthy eating habits they can consider? So whatever you have shared, is it true for kids as
Yes,
well?
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same for kids. You don't need to give dairy to kids. I mean, kids only need mother's milk. They don't need milk after their teeth come out and after their mothers stop producing milk. So, the whole thing of consuming cow's milk is a commercial venture that we've been
Good.
taught. We believe it, but it's not really true.
So what about the organic or A2 milk that people are saying okay for kids, right? What's your opinion on that?
Well, organic milk is, I mean, yeah, the chemicals are out of it or less in it, but the hormones, because a cow is a female mammal, will all be there. And A2 milk is really fantastic for A2 calves, but if you're not one, then we've got to think twice about that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, every mammal produces milk only for their young, and in nature, no animal drinks another animal's milk. Like pigs don't drink goat's milk and monkeys don't drink elephant's milk, but we do. How can we be that dull? It's just because it has been done over a period of time that it has become normalized, but it's total madness because milk contains messages like there's this I'm just forgetting her name right now, but it will come back to me. Anyway, there's this lady who's done research on milk, and she found that mothers produce milk in response to their children, which means that um, if if they have a boy child, the milk is different for a boy child than a girl child, and that if a child is sick, if the baby is sick, the mother's milk contains the um, immune immunity, the antibodies required to make the baby well as fast as possible. The mother's milk actually contains messages. In fact, there's a different formula for the first month, the second month, the colostrum, it's all different. And when we just think, okay, let's have cow's milk, it's total madness. We
Yeah.
can't do this, you know.
Yeah. And the same hold goods, whether it's a grass-fed cow or uh, any regular one, or in the farm or in home as a family member, anything, right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, a cow produces milk for calves. Like recently, somebody actually dumped some kittens in the. I keep a bowl for water bowl outside for stray animals, and somebody dumped two kittens in there. So I had no option but to bring them up. And the first day I gave them, because they were totally dehydrated and very tiny, I gave them cow's milk powder. I bought a sachet of powder milk and made milk and gave it to the kittens, and they had it. But the next day they wouldn't even take it because they knew instinctively that cow's milk is not for them. Imagine. That's when I got kitten formula and gave it to them in order to make them thrive. Now, I don't even know if I should get some other animal's milk to give to another animal, and I mean, that's another whole story. But the important thing is that even kittens know that they can't drink cow's milk, but we don't.
Yeah.
But we do. Wait a minute, we do. Because every baby loves its mother's milk. But when you first give cow's milk, every baby says poo. But then mothers add sugar and cocoa and
Born
force
with
it down
the.
their throat. So
Yeah.
we know that it's not good for us. At least when we're born, we know that. But then we start believing what our mothers tell us, because we think that why would our mothers run around us for half an hour to drink a glass of milk if it was not good for us? So we believe it's the best thing for us. At least I did, till till I recognized that milk is the worst thing you can have.
Yeah. Thank you so much, doctor.
Pratima just had a question as she's talking about milk. Doctor, how about the curd, which we make it from the milk? Because it has bacteria, right? So is curd okay or
Any dairy
So
alternatives? Yeah.
what all milk has which is bad for us is hormones, then
Pus.
the yeah, well, antibiotics,
Yeah.
because remember 80% of the antibiotics today, we have antibiotic resistance because the animals that we have been consuming or their products contain antibiotics. So when you have consumed curd, you are consuming antibiotics, you're consuming hormones, but then you are also consuming pus, because and you can look up, actually Google for it, how much pus is allowed in US milk, how much pus is allowed in European milk, how much pus is allowed in Indian milk, nobody checks. So there's a certain amount, a high amount of pus which is allowed. Remember one thing, that the cow's udders are not for milk machines or human hands. So there's always injury, induration, inflammation, pus formation in the cow's udders. Every cow suffers from mastitis if it's a dairy cow. And you can literally go and see those udders and see how how the mastitis is, because they're red and swollen and you can see the veins on the udders. Literally. I mean, we need to go to those dairies from where we're consuming the milk to even imagine what all is in there, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to say things about Indian milk, but I've seen people milking cows and literally blood falling in to the milk because of the mastitis, and pus is always there, but pus is closer to white in color, so you can't make out. But you just need to put that glass of milk in a clean fridge and open the fridge the next morning and smell. You can smell the smell of pus. It's there. So the curds has all of that, right? Now, curds is a fermented food, and we think we need probiotics
Probiotic.
every day, but we do not, because we also know that one spoon of bacteria, one spoon of probiotic in a bowl of milk produces a bowl of curd. That means if we have the right bacteria in our gut today, We don't need to keep adding to them because they are multiplying by themselves. We don't need to take a probiotic like curd unless you're actually consuming antibiotics daily,
Yeah.
which you are if you're consuming milk or even curd,
Yeah.
right?
And I think prebiotics, that is the fiber, is most important than the probiotics, right? Yeah. So the next question is, so in late 30s, somebody's facing forgetfulness, brain fog, and she's not able to remember how a lot of things from the past. Is it related to hormonal issue? And also she gets frequent skin dryness with cuts, especially during winters.
Yeah, so you know what? These are very specific problems, and nobody can tell you exactly what they are without the tests and looking at the whole case and all the symptoms. So, this would require a proper consultation,
Okay. 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 Thank you.
an individualized consultation.
Okay. And the next question is about the breast cancer. So someone's friend is diagnosed with breast cancer, but even though she was doing mammograms every year and she was being healthy and the results were all fine. So what are the tests that we should, do to,
First of all,
yeah,
I don't think that mammograms every year is something healthy because don't forget it's radiation, and radiation or x rays are carcinogens. So we have to remember that we are living in a situation where we are told to do mammograms every year because it funds the medical industry, but it may not be the best thing for us. So we need to cut down on x rays because x rays cause cancer. I mean, remember that when people get cancer, they are given radiation, even though radiation causes cancer, because it can, in the short term, burn the cancer cells. Radiation causes burns. It burns the local cancer cells. Or they are given chemotherapy. When chemotherapy, the chemicals are carcinogens. But because those chemicals can kill all fast growing cells in a short period of time, they are given. So we have to remember that the treatment for cancer today is also short term treatment. And even if someone has cancer and has successfully removed that cancer with short term treatment, they still should remove the causes of cancer, otherwise, it can recur.
the secondary tumors can occur, right? Yeah. Thank you, doctor. So now I will take some questions from the chat box. So somebody is saying, as PCOS changed now to PMOS, yeah. I think there's a new medical term for PCOS. I think she's asking about that.
Okay, okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
Terms don't interest me, causes do.
yeah, yeah. So the next question is, how can pituitary gland help in sleep? Can you talk about better sleep patterns?
Yeah, but I can, and that's a whole talk by itself. Like, there's so many things, like, if we aren't getting good sleep, we have to remove the causes of not getting good sleep. And there are so many causes of that. Like, it could be anything from anxiety to having bright lights at night so that your body doesn't know the time of day. So there are so many things to sleep that I can't cover it in this Q&A, but also here let's do one thing. Let us at least remove the hormonal cause of sleep, which is lack of melatonin, not by supplementing melatonin, but by removing the causes of hormonal problems, which are number one, hormones themselves, number two, chemicals, and number three, fat.
Fat.
And you can have more fiber to improve that.
Thank you, doctor. I have heard that per Ayurveda, the recommendation is to cook and eat rather than eat raw. Does it hurt to consume greens raw?
So remember that all the animals eat their food raw, and we, at least at Sharan, are not talking about a system of medicine. Like, whatever I'm talking to you about today is not naturopathy, and I'm a homeopath, but it's not homeopathy, it's not Ayurveda, it's not Chinese medicine, it is what did nature or God expect us to eat? And how did nature or God expect us to live? So now I ask you, should we follow a man made system like Ayurveda or a God made system? And obviously, the answer will be God made system, and every animal eats their food raw. It will never hurt to consume any food raw. I know people who eat potatoes raw. I do eat lady's finger raw. Almost all the vegetables and fruits that we eat can be eaten raw. Maybe not some yams and tapioca, but most of them can be eaten raw.
Thank you, doctor. So we have question about if it's good to move to from milk, dairy milk to all other forms of milk. I think you've already answered.
But I could
Yeah,
answer that better.
yeah,
And, we have to understand that we are not infants and we definitely don't need any form of milk. If I recommend plant based milks, it's only for taste, not for nutrition, because you can get all the nutritional needs met with just fruits and vegetables, grains, beans, and seeds.
whole foods. Yeah, thank you, doctor.
And we
Uh,
have to remember that plant based milk is nothing but seeds or nuts plus water. Hmm?
yeah. Can you provide good plant-based alternative milk? I heard soy milk disrupts the hormones. I think they're talking about the phytoestrogens.
Okay, but I do want to tell you that phytoestrogens are there in corn, fruits, vegetables, everything. And the only reason that people have been harping about phytoestrogens in soy is because soy is actually competing with dairy milk, and there's money to lose, for certain people, so they want to vilify soy. But soy is nothing but a bean. If you see the soybean, it looks like tur dal. I mean, it's nothing big. It's just a bean, not a bioweapon, and it does not do any harm. Now, if you're afraid of soy, you don't need to have soy, but really there's no need to be afraid of it. There is need to be afraid of any genetically modified food, according to me. And soy is one of the major genetically modified foods. So if I were to eat soy, I would definitely go for organic, but that I do for everything anyway.
Yeah. And to add one point there, I think if you are consuming dairy or animal products, those animals are being fed with corn and soy, which is GMO. So you are indirectly consuming soy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to recognize that 80 to 90% of the soy produced in the world is fed to animals in our food chain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian will be consuming way more soy than a vegan.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, doctor. Is protein powder really necessary?
Absolutely not. Is protein powder a God made substance or a man made substance? And we just have to think that way. If it's a God made substance, you need it. If it's a man made substance, you don't need it. Protein powder is an isolate. We should not have it because whole foods come in balance. Isolates remove the balance.
Yeah. Thank you, doctor. So traditional Indian food has a lot of dairy products. So is moderation suggested or complete avoidance?
Traditionally, Indian food contains no dairy. Traditionally, Indian food is dal, chawal, roti, sabzi. Rice, chapati, vegetables, and dals. Now, ideally, it would be better to have more fruits, more salads than the traditional Indian food. But, in India, dairy, organized dairy sector came with the British.
White revolution.
Before that, hmm?
During white revolution.
No, before that, with the
Yeah.
British.
Yeah.
And then when the British left, Indians had got used to tea and needed milk in their tea. Remember that before refrigeration, milk cannot be had unless you have your own cow. And imagine that in Krishna's time, Krishna was stealing milk products, even though he had hundreds of cows. That's because no mother produces more milk than the need of her child. So there's no excess milk once the calf has been fed, or very little, right? Therefore, Krishna was stealing. I mean, today, how many of your kids did you find stealing milk products? Right? They are running away from them initially. So we have to understand that, you know, milk has something called casomorphin, which is addictive. It's to addict the baby to the mother. And when we consume milk, it's one thing, but if we consume cheese and paneer or concentrated forms of milk like ice cream or whatever, then we are consuming more casomorphin, and these foods are addictive. Uh, that doesn't make them healthy, but they are addictive. So they are a little harder to leave, and it's good that we have alternatives to make it easier to leave. That's all.
Hmm. Thank you, Doctor. What are, I think, last two questions, and I think can end. What are good anti-inflammatory food and avoid, which are the inflammatory food which we have to avoid?
Okay, I mean, like this is a common topic these days, inflammatory foods and so on. The most inflammatory foods are the free radicals, right? They are contained in meat and dairy. So we should avoid all meat and dairy. And we should also avoid all the refined foods like oil and sugar and white rice and white flour, which are inflammatory foods. And the most non inflammatory, anti inflammatory foods are raw fruits and vegetables.
Thank you, Doctor. Last question. Is it good to give vitamin D and iron supplements for 12-year-old upon doctor suggestions?
No, it's never good to give supplements. It's only good to test and supplement if required. If someone has an iron deficiency, we should be asking the question, why is there an iron deficiency? Because if we're eating the right foods, we won't have an iron deficiency. But milk impedes the absorption of iron, which is why many Indians have iron deficiency. And tea and coffee also impede the absorption of iron. And so there are lots of things that we can do to avoid iron deficiency. And I've seen a lot of people improve in anemia with a proper diet. So definitely we should not give iron supplements unless they're absolutely required. And definitely no multivitamins as a routine.
Doctor, I had one question here. Usually, what happens is we have a myth, or I don't know what to say about that, that we get vitamin D only through milk, and we are so worried about our kids that they are lacking vitamin D, and we just give them milk or some substitutes like cheese or something to make sure they get enough vitamin D. So, I think this question, many of them would have it. So, I wanted to cover that. Any
I
other
do want to say
suggestions?
that in the US they even fortify orange juice with vitamin D. But if something is fortified with vitamin D, then we might as well take the supplements directly.
Yeah.
Right. And so, the only answer to all these myths is education, and to really look into what is the cause of all these problems. Because, so many people today have osteoporosis, even though they were consuming milk their entire lives. So many people have cavities, even though they were consuming milk their entire lives. So we should be asking the right questions, right? Why did that happen?
Thank you,
True,
Doctor.
true, doctor. So, what is the, I mean, for kids especially, right? Is sunlight the only exposure what we have for vitamin D, or is there any other ways?
There is no other source of vitamin D uh, except the action of the sun on the directly on the skin.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Is
I
it
mean,
okay
we
to
could get
ask?
from milk if the cows were out in the pastures, but realistically, none of them are, because it's not, um, you know, it takes a lot of energy to move cows in and out of pastures to milk machines. The cows are literally kept tied all the time in one position, day and night, so that you can attach and detach milk machine. And these are all done mechanized, and those cows do not have vitamin D.
And they are also supplemented, right? These days, even the animals in farms. Yeah. Is it okay to ask last three questions? We have some.
Last three.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go
Something
fast.
about. Yeah. So they are asking about the PMS symptoms like mood swings and all. Is it because of hormonal imbalance and how to avoid?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Is consumption of egg bad as protein-rich food?
I mean, first we have to ask that do you have protein deficiency? Secondly, we have to figure out why would you have protein deficiency? Third, we have to ask the question, what is protein good for? I mean, the people who ask these questions don't even know the answers to this. Why do we need protein? Right? And we have to remember that the only producer of protein in the world is plants. Right? So, horses and elephants and cows get their protein from plants, and so can we. But egg is one of the highest packages of cholesterol, and a lot of people have high cholesterol. So we have a lot of learning to do, and even more than the learning, we have unlearning to do. And but we don't have time today for
Yeah, yeah,
more.
yeah. I think I will take the last question. So, how can we give enough calories to children if you're avoiding dairy or high fat foods?
How can we give enough what?
Calories.
Calories.
Yeah,
My God. I mean, you can get enough calories just from eating fruits. You can get enough calories from eating root vegetables like uh, carrots and potatoes, and even non root vegetables like pumpkins and so on. This is all calories, right?
yeah,
You can get calories from beans and grains, and man, everything has calories.
yeah.
You just feed your child according to hunger and you got them done.
Yeah, and we are not saying them to avoid all the fat foods, right? We are asked they can eat nuts, seeds, and all those healthy foods, and even a lot of beans and a lot of lentils and legumes, everything. So definitely they can get the calorie from that. And somebody is asking about mushrooms. So mushrooms are vitamin
Mushrooms
D.
are great. Great, great. Not
Yeah.
for vitamin D. No, I mean you can expose mushrooms to the sun and get some
Some
amount of
vitamin D.
vitamin D from them,
Yeah,
but honestly, that should not be your only source of vitamin D,
yeah,
or you won't get by.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor, for taking so much time to spend with us and share your knowledge. And we are really inspired by the work you are doing. I've been following your work for last 11 years, and it's truly like we are really honored to have you here. And thank you so much. I'll be sharing the website and all the details with the group. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Doctor.
Thank you, Pratima.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Doctor. It was really an eye-opening session for us. I think a lot of our myths have been cleared now. So hopefully, yeah, we'll continue. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Okay. Huh?
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for having me there.
Thank you so
And thank
much.
you for waiting till the end, all of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Thank you.
great day, everyone. Thank you.
You